Hello, this is Jeff Helvin with Ballen Brands, and today I'm going to show you how to customize your Infusionsoft dashboard. One of the best things about Infusionsoft is it's very tailored to each individual user, which allows us to each see something differently that's important to us when we're managing our day. So what it allows us to do is we have a couple options here. When I've logged in and I am on my dashboard, I actually first have the option to change the layout. So the layout's usually going to be decided based on how much information you intend to have on the page. The current layout or the default layout is a two column where one is a little wider and the second one is a little thinner. Then they have a two wide columns. It gives equal space, and of course this is intended for larger screen resolutions depending on how large your monitor is. And then we have the one wide column and two narrow columns, again with a wider monitor that allows us to see more information, what we consider above the folds. And then we have the two wide columns and one narrow column option. So again, for larger monitors. So again, the current layout, the default is going to be this one here. So I'm going to leave that one just so that we can see how that works out for us. And then we can try one of the other options as well. The next thing we get to do is we get to add widgets. So you'll actually see on my dashboard here in our demo account that we have a number of widgets that are set up. And this is really a sample of each of the different widgets that are available. So I'm going to just quickly go through which ones we have here so that you can see what we can access. One of the first ones here, most useful, is the contacts widget. So this simply just shows you at a glance how many contacts we have in the system that came in the last 30 days, 90 days, or in the last year. So again, just a quick glance to kind of see how many people we have in the system. The next one here is the large button that shows that number based on what you've selected here. And if I were to click through to that, you'll actually get the list of who matches this example over here. Now the other option I have is I can also type in to filter it by tag. So I can very quickly, if there's certain tags, which is discussed in another video, that you want to see, let's say two-way contact is a tag that we want to identify. So I start to type it in and it'll actually pull up anything in my system that matches that tag. And when I select that tag, it'll actually recalculate the dashboard here to show you what my options are. So two-way contact achieved. And this shows one example here because this particular one example did also have two-way contact achieved. So it's a nice way to interact with the system and again, maybe quickly access or identify certain pieces of information. Next one I have here is actually tasks. So if I have any tasks that are due today, I can see those here on this list as well. Now in this particular case, I don't have any tasks set up, so of course nothing shows. And I can also set up future tasks, all tasks. Again, I can select these and it can be very custom to what we do. Now I actually use the My Day section, which is in another video that I'll show you, to access my tasks and opportunities, but this is also a way, if again, if you have a personal preference that this works better for you to see what tasks are due right here on your screen, then you can certainly do that. Next option here is the where I get to choose an actual report. So I've set up a saved search in the system, and I've set that saved search up that anybody that matches that search shows up here on my dashboard. So this actually shows a list. And this will show the first 5, and then you can click View All Results. So if I had a list of 20 people, it's going to show me the first 5 or 10, and then I can click View All Results to see the rest. So it's a pretty nice feature here that we can do. I can also change the settings on this to show how many am I showing. So again, 20 is the max, 5 is the default, and I can change the name of what these are here too, and change which reports that I'm actually showing. So a very handy tool, again, depending on what kind of information we're trying to access from the system. The next option we have is recent activity. So this is a nice one as well, where you're able to actually see who's been active in the system via clicking on links, opening emails, and so forth. In this case, it says somebody opened, you've been invited to Infusionsoft, because this particular record doesn't exist anymore. So it just says somebody. If this record did still exist, it would actually have the name of that person and show what they did and when they did it. So extremely helpful in prospecting and understanding what activity we have going on in the system. Next one over here we have is a custom list that I put together. So we're actually able to add a number of stats here. So I have a hot leads list, I have a warm leads list, and then I can create other leads, other lists like cold leads and so forth. And what this allows me to do is I can, again, simply add another stat, and I can choose that I want a count of any contacts that match a certain criteria that I've set up, and I can go ahead and save that. And when I save that, it adds it back here and then shows me that nobody matches this particular set of information. So I can easily manipulate this information. I can move them up and down. So again, very custom here on what we want to access. Okay. So the next one is the calendar items. So the calendar items here is simply your schedule. It's your calendar. Now, Infusionsoft can integrate with your Gmail calendar, and so you could actually set up calendar automation where people can actually book through a third-party plugin. They can actually book a session that you've allowed them to have access to, and then it can actually come back and show up right here on your calendar. I, again, use the My Day section more for my daily activities, and which includes my tasks, my opportunities, and my calendar, my schedule. So I don't use this particular thing myself. However, again, based on how you like to see your information, this may be a useful widget for you to use as well. Next we have, this is actually a campaign report. So I'm able to add a widget here that allows me to choose a campaign, and it's going to tell me, it pulls out a few sequences here that are active that we can use and see how many people. So how many people are marked as no SMS marketing? How many people failed when we sent them an SMS? How many phone numbers were capable of SMS, and so forth. So this gives us a really quick glance at what's working in the system. And of course, I can always click on those to see the actual people that match this description, and therefore pursue them, reach out to them if I want to actually perform some sort of activity with them. Next, if you have e-commerce and are doing e-commerce, there's fulfillment jobs. So that would be if there is something assigned to you that you're supposed to fulfill. It kind of shows up like almost like a task where you'd be able to see what activities that are due for you today. And then finally we have a sales, finally on the left-hand side I should say, we have a sales widget that again is going to add up and give you the sum of all your particular sales. Works kind of like the new contacts do up here, only it's focused specifically on sales and allows you to kind of change some details to get different numbers. So it's a nice little widget if you're doing e-commerce as well. Now back up to the top on the right hand side, we've got a pipeline widget. So if you do have the opportunity stages, if you have that module set up in your system in Infusionsoft, that is an add-on item. So if you have that, you can actually create a widget that shows you how many people are in each pipeline stage. And pipeline stages is something I discussed in another video. But as far as the widget's concerned, this is a nice tool to be able to add so that we could easily see how many different people. In this case, we've got a real estate example that shows the different phases in a particular pipeline for buyers and sellers. And then if I scroll down below that, we've got our email stats. So if you do send out broadcast emails or emails to your database list, then you can see the stats here. So it's going to show you how many sent, how many opens, how many clicks and opt-ins, and your percentages for each of those. Again, you can quickly change to a few different details like last 7 days or today if you do send out a lot of activities. So this is a nice, again, quick glance tool just to see how things are running. And down here, the final one that I have set up here is your usage stats. So this one actually shows how many of your users have logged in, and what I mean by your users meaning people who have access to Infusionsoft, how many contacts that have been imported into the system, how many email broadcasts were sent, how many active web forms there are, and so forth. So again, this is really just kind of giving you a snapshot to see the health of what's going on in the system. So the dashboard is intended to kind of give you an overview and an at a glance. If you manage many people on a team, then you're able to actually set up dashboards that help monitor what your users are doing. And if this is just for yourself, well then this is a great dashboard to kind of give you like I said, keep a pulse on what's going on in the business. And in order to add widgets, you simply click the Add Widgets button up here, and you can choose from the different options that they have available. Campaign reporting, emails, custom statistics. A lot of these I've already added. Now, if I actually delete one of them, such as contacts, go ahead and delete that, you'll actually see when I go back to add widgets, it becomes available again. So contacts is now available, whereas it wasn't before. So I can go ahead and click on add dashboard to get that back. And again, it sets kind of a default there. So now that we've seen that, again, we can play a little bit with the change layout and choose a different option. Let's go for the 2 wide columns, 1 narrow column. And you'll see what happens is it sets up that for me, and right now I don't have anything in the narrow column on the right because I've already set everything else in the 2 column layout before. But if I wanted to, I could simply drag and drop this over. And if I wanted this one to show up here, I can drag and drop that over. So it's a really nice tool for us to be able to use, like I said, to customize how we want our screen to look. All right, that's it for this particular video. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. team@ballenbrands.com. We love Infusionsoft and we love helping our customers. Look forward to hearing from you soon.